shit, we didn't even talk about the Olympics.
We got time.
You very casually grazed by the fact that you seem to attract high-level performers, and in your sphere, there's some like people operating at very high levels. You were a coach for the 2024 U.S. team for the Olympics. What was your role? Like, what did that actually look like?
So I wasn't a coach for the team. I was a coach for a particular person.
Okay.
Who was competing, which is Sonny Choi.
Yep.
Who later got down with my crew eventually.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, it's funny how that worked out. It's like, so Randy, Randy Rascal.
Yep.
Her and Lily Breeze are two people that I just kind of like took under my wing randomly. I saw them at an event out here that I was judging, and made it to the finals. They ended up losing, and
Randy was very close.
yeah, and I thought that they should have won. Not saying that the judgment was wrong, but in terms of what I know they're capable of doing,
I see.
like I'm like, you guys should have won that, but you didn't.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so I don't know. I just felt it upon me because when I came up, I didn't pay for dance. I didn't pay to like get coached.
Yep.
Or whatever. It was something that
people offered.
Yeah, people offered. And so I'm just in a space right now where I just want to be able to give that back. You know what I'm saying? And so I went up to Randy and Lily, and I was like, we talk about the battle and all that stuff. We, discussing it. And I was like, look, I want to help y'all. Like, how about you guys come through once a week? And I just want to give, I just want to give y'all just the knowledge
whatever
that I know,
you have
whatever,
that might help,
right? And so we started sessioning, and they saw a perspective, or at least my perspective of like kind of how my perspective on like just how I see what I see in other people, right? And so for me, it wasn't necessarily like I have a bunch of skills and a bunch of moves that I can teach you. Come to my layer and come to my domain and let me show you.
You just wrote a script for a dance movie, by the way.
No, it was like, okay, I see what you're doing. Here's another perspective of what you're doing that you may not have thought of. I don't want to change your style. I just want to give you another perspective of what I'm seeing about your style, type of thing. So anyway, long story short, they started getting better. And at that time, Randy had been competing towards the Olympics, racking up points, going to all the qualifiers and stuff like that or whatever. And she had been going to like Olympic camps and all that stuff. Like, it was just part of the USA team circuit.
Yeah.
Right. And people started noticing how much better she was getting. And she started talking. And it just kind of like, just word started getting around that I was helping her. And so she got into I guess at one point in time, she ran into Sonny. And Sonny was kind of like in a place where it's like, she's like, yo, I don't really want to be coached by the people that are available to me. She
was looking for something else.
Yeah. And then she saw the difference in Randy, and I guess Randy told her about
working with
me. And then Sonny reached out. Coincidentally, Sonny was like hanging out with some of my crew members at the time as well. So it was just kind of like easy to get to me and stuff like that. But and then during our first session, Sonny's very shy, super,
which is funny because her dancing is loud.
Yeah. So she's really talented, and she like has more power moves than the average American B-girl, and a gymnast background.
Certainly more than I have.
So I remember during our first session, super random, she came through with one of my crew members, and I noticed how shy she was, and I was like, yo, this is a safe space. Like, there's no judgment here, like, you know what I'm saying? But like the way in which I was speaking to her, and the way in which I was like pointing things out to her, that was like, it's like, yo, why are you shy if you dance in front of a camera already? You never display this when you're in a battle.
Right.
So why come into a space like having and well, this is like who I've always been and how I've always been and all that stuff and just like my childhood and I was like, cool, that's fine. However,
is that working out for you?
let's
Is that
let's
going
just
well?
play pretend right now.
Okay.
Like let's just play pretend. Like yeah, those things may be true, but you also know how to turn that off. And there's a time to have that on and off. I've always been a shy person. If I'm like in a room full of new people, I'm the person in the cut, just being very observing of like, the atmosphere and whatnot. But not really loud or extrovert or anything like that. But I feel you on that part. But there's a time and place for that, And when it comes to like training and getting better and knowing that you have room to grow and all that stuff, that's the time to turn it off, And so she had never really gotten feedback like that
on her character.
Yeah. and it's like, no, I'm not telling you that it's a bad thing that you are shy.
Or that you are bad for being shy.
Right. I'm telling you that it just doesn't serve you in the space.
In a training space.
Right.
This is something interesting. A friend of mine, Andy Blankenbuehler, who is a multi-Tony award-winning choreographer, Hamilton, the original In the Heights. That's all Andy. He used to be a performer as well, a dancer. And he has told me about a pivotal moment in his training when he started performing his warm-ups. So being on stage behind the curtain, going through the motions of a warm-up, but it's not warming you up because nobody, when the curtain comes up, you don't do this.
Right.
You perform, and he started performing warm-up, and it changed everything. His stamina, his endurance. So it's a great point to start training the way you want to perform
100%.
versus treat training as training and then expect when the performance comes for there to be something else there.
Yeah. And so, that was a big, I forgot when it happened. Oh, when I did Battle of the Year and I was around like all the top level b-boys, a lot of them, in the US and stuff, I had realized that all these people bring something different to the table, but what they all have in common is their polish and their like performative kind of like approach. All these guys knew how to perform. And that was something that I wouldn't say that I didn't know how to perform, but it wasn't something that I like consciously exercised. And so when I started seeing like, oh no, these guys like really like embody themselves as masters at what they do.
Yeah.
So it's not like something is missing in like your repertoire. I think like a beginner could still be a master in what they do. It's like do what you do, what you can do, what you have the ability to
Master
do. Really,
beginner, Dana Wilson. I like it.
Try to do it really well and try to actually perform it, because we know the difference between somebody performing and somebody just moving, going through movement.
Yeah. I do, however, think technique versus style conversation coming, that in order to have the brain space to perform, which does require, it's a different skill set.
Yeah, for sure.
There has to be some baseline level of mechanical understanding so that I even have room to think about performative aspects or like where I'm looking and who I'm seeing or what I'm imagining. Like I think if you put me in one of Marty Kudelka's classes today, because I'm so familiar with his vocabulary and transition style and like things, I'm able to perform his shit real fast.
Yeah.
But put me in a stunt class and I don't know if I would be able to. There's just certain pathways and certain
word though,
things.
you said familiar.
Yeah.
Like you have to become familiar with.
You got to get familiar first.
Yeah, you got to get familiar with the way he does his thing, whatever, and it's just kind of like adapt to it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's a huge insight, and it sounds like that this is just a core part of who you are. You're good at looking at something and seeing what's missing.
Yeah.
You did it with your crew and how you fit into your crew.
Right.
You did it with Sonny. Like, I see, this is the lay of the land. I see this as an area of weakness. It's what makes you a good assistant. It's what's going to make you a good stunt person. It's just like, my understanding of you now is way fuller. I get you now better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.